Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I'm your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67. And with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How about everyone else and you? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. I just gotta turn you up a little bit.
Ooh, turn me up.
Yeah, no, I think it was on my end. I think I turned you down at some point. But nope,
Gotcha.
you're back to good normal. You're back to the good old ways of how it was set up. No, something's going on with my computer. Each time I exit out of Steam Lab, it keeps removing my headset, my microphone from being picked up. And I'm glad I was looking whenever I started doing the intro, because I'm like, huh, my voice isn't being picked up. Quickly go in the change the stuff. All right, it's all good now. Didn't need Mom Burkhart to be there being like, we can't hear you. But we still love that she was there.
Yeah.
Austin, how's your week, man?
It's been pretty good. Just been really busy, with work and more work, and then the foster care that we deal with. Just been doing a whole bunch of stuff like that. Just keeping busy, staying busy, doing stuff, making sure stuff gets done around here. But it's pretty much just been one crazy week, crazy weekend too. So just trying to get stuff done, trying to finish up Castlevania, and I'm still watching a whole bunch of my other shows, and then I've been playing Balatro like crazy at my work. So my second job, they were all asleep today, so I just played Balatro all day. I was like, they're asleep, they're gonna sleep in all day, so I'm just gonna play Balatro. So I've been playing that, and then I just bought a PS4 controller so that I could play Grand Theft Auto Defining Edition, because it was on sale on Steam, and I was like, oh well, I'll just pick that up. It's $20 for all 3 games. It was worth it. So I've been doing that, and then pretty much just normal stuff, playing guitar, and just keeping busy. Me and my wife went to go see Disney on Ice, and then when she was doing that, Mom came over and we did some stuff, and then I had to look at her car and everything like that, and then we went out on a date to Fiesta Mexicana and went shopping, got some pretty cool stuff, got some new towels and stuff, and I got myself one of those bathroom shower stone mats. I don't know if you've ever seen those, where they're stone, and then you just step on them, and then the stone gets wet, and then you walk off of it. It's like it's a shower,
I think I know what you're talking about. It fades away, right?
Yeah, it dries within a minute. It's pretty cool. I've because the problem I was having was the foster kid and my wife are so bad at shutting the curtain all the way, so all the water would come down on the rug, and then who's the last person to take a shower for the night? It's me. And then you step on the rug and it's cold, wet, damp, and I'm like, ugh. So
it's also really bad for
the floor. Yeah, so I was like, I'm done with that. I'm just gonna move to a stone mat. So it's big, it's huge, and it's hard to once you get water on it, it just dries it a little bit. It's pretty cool. So we got that yesterday, and we've just been hanging out pretty much this whole weekend, since we are just respite. So we get him Monday through Friday, and then the weekends we don't get anyone unless they need us. So we've been doing that. So yeah, it's been pretty much that.
I know what you're saying about the whole shower thing, because I have 2 roommates who don't understand, hey, after you get done with taking a shower, maybe stay in the tub for just a couple seconds so all the big amount of drops fall off of you, then go get your towels and whatnot. But we don't even have because our floor is all tiled or whatnot. We don't even have a bath
mat.
Thank you, bath mat on the bottom anymore. Just because our one roommate kept moving it underneath the toilet, and I'm like, bro, that's disgusting, dude. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm not. I bought 2 of these at some point. They always get disgusting and dirty, and then I throw them away. I'm not buying anymore, and so I just stopped, and I'm like, it's disgusting. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. I get you.
And so That's how life is. That's what can you do, you know? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll turn into a vampire now. No, awesome. That's good. I had basically the same thing. I was planning on going out to Altoona this weekend to play some vampire VTM out there, but then like I woke up Saturday, played some Red Dead Redemption for a while, and then it's like it's raining out. Well, it rained out on Friday, and then it's getting to below zero, or not below freezing here. So it's like, do I really want to drive out there? And like, yeah, it will be fine through most of the day, but then come nighttime, it's gonna get below freezing. And if it's not fully dried, there's chances of like black ice or other like ice forming of some sort. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just stay in all day and play Red Dead Redemption and just have fun that way. And so that's what I did. I've just been playing that game a lot. I understand why people love it so much. I'm also shocked that it did not receive half the love that Grand Theft Auto has received.
Yeah.
That game is freaking amazing. There's a lot to it.
Have you finished the story?
No.
Oh man.
My enjoyment of the game is 90% of the time running around getting pelts. Like I'm getting on there and spending like 6 to 7 hours doing 1 or 2 missions, and then spend the rest of the time running around looking for like perfect pelt of things and being like, I won't get this. I need that boar. I need 3 boar pelts. So okay, I get all 3 boars. And then like I'm on the way back to my place, and suddenly I see a snake, and I'm like, oh, is it 3-star? It's 3-star. Pull out my bow, start like creeping up on it, and like that's a lot of
those legendary hunts, man. Like I love the legendary hunts.
What was funny is that I got the best steed in the game, the albino. The Arabian albino. And I got it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't hard whatsoever for like a legendary steed. And I started leaving back, and it's like, you're in a legendary area. I'm like, well, might as well start looking at it. And I start doing the gathering thing, and I look across the street. Look across the river, and there's the hunt. And it's the white buffalo, like the great white buffalo. Oh, yeah. And all I could think about was what the heck's that movie called? Hot Tub Time Machine, where they all just started like hovering back and forth, like great white buffalo, great white buffalo, great white buffalo, because it's his great white buffalo. And took it out, got it, and then went back home, turned it all in. So I've just I've been abusing it. I'm only on chapter 3 of 6, so I'm less than halfway through. And I just got done robbing the bank in Valentine with Bill and all of them.
Marston and all them, yeah.
No, it was Bill Williams, Lenny, and Kieran.
It was Valentine. Oh, I'm thinking of you do a lot of robberies in the game.
Yeah, no, you do. Basically, it's like Dutch's plan is like, you go to a town, you fleece the town full of money, and then you rob the bank, and then you leave. And it's like, okay, that's going to be the thing. But no, I got like a lot of money from that, and I've been like collecting things galore. And it's a really fun game. It's top of the line game. Makes me fall in love with Arthur Morgan. Like, gosh dang, dude, is he like, he's not like a good guy, but he's a good guy, you know? Like, you can play him as being like a really good and kind guy, but then there's moments where he's just a really jerk and like bad. Yeah, he's like,
he's that anti-villain, like that anti-hero. So like, you know, like you want to root for him because he's so well developed as a character, and you're playing through him. It's kind of like, let's take for example like Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is that way, you know, like you're like, I love Tommy Vercetti, but he's garbage. You know, he's murdered multiple people. He's like taken like all this stuff, but like you're rooting for him because that's how the game plays. But I really enjoy that game. That game, oh man, I am with you. I feel like that game should have got as much love as it did. And like it started, Rockstar ruined it for a lot of people because like they kind of like shut off the whole like supporting the game. Like they were like, we'll do online, but we're done like DLC or anything like that. And I was like, that's kind of crap because like a lot of fans were really upset about it. They were like, this is a great game, like why are you doing this? They're like, well, there's so much you can do in that game. And I was like, yeah, but the online aspect could be like crazy, like GTA 5. So
It could be great. Like it was
yeah.
one of the biggest thing that people kind of I saw online that kind of they said is like the biggest disappointment is that in the first one they did like a zombie DLC or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're like they could have done it for this game because this world is much
Mhm.
more expansive and it would have been much fun. And I agree on that for one main thing. I went into this house where there was a bunch of dead bodies and like dead skeletons everywhere. And I was like, I just feel like something's going to jump at me. Like, I
Mhm.
don't feel safe in here, even though it's like, that's not a thing of the game. And so, like, I'm walking around being like, at some point, one of these dudes are going to jump at me and scare me. So I better get this cocaine gum and leave. Like, that's like, that's 90% of all the interactions I have in that game. And I love the amount of like small things you find that are just like secrets or um little like did you find this type deal thing, like find the one
Yeah.
guy up on the mountaintop who like sat down there with a gun to like watch the sunrise and freeze to death,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, okay, thanks for the gun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
There's so
crazy.
many, yeah, there's just so many cool little aspects to it because I really like one of my favorite things that like I found in that game was there's a part like later on in the story, you haven't unlocked that like place that you go to yet,
Okay.
or you haven't been to that place. There's a place where like they're building a house, and like these people are building houses like, hey brother, could you help a brother out, like, could you help a fellow, boy out, so then like you can go and help him, like just do like a couple chores, and you're just like, oh cool, didn't think anything of it. But how they set that game up so well is if you come back like later in the game, that house is built, and they're like, hey, it's you're the guy that really helped out, and you're like, oh, that's so awesome that they took the time
Hmm.
just to do that. And they did the same thing. There's a part in like the bigger city where you can give money,
Yeah,
like they're like, hey, we're
I gave
looking
the
to, like,
money
do
to
the
that,
library.
and
Yeah.
I've seen like TikToks and everything where people talk about like the best hidden things you can find in like the last chapter or whatnot. And one of the things is pointing out how like that add-on gets completed and Arthur's name's on it if you give the money to it.
Yeah, the
So people are
plaque is
like,
there.
there's one
So
thing
good.
you always do in Red Dead Redemption, you give that $20. Like,
Yeah, you do. You always get that $20. You should. You should.
so. All right, Austin. Well, speaking about getting things completed and building them up and then tearing it down, Austin, we spent too much time talking about Red Dead Redemption. Austin, what did you
Yeah.
think? We watched this week of Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. What did you think of Castlevania Nocturne
So
Season 2?
so I will say this. I like this season way more than the first season. The issues that I had with the first season were fixed. Like pacing in this season was a good pace. Like I enjoyed the pacing in this season. I enjoyed the characters of this season. And what's great about this season is season 1 is all really about Richter. And then like he had some small side characters, but his story, that whole story was kind of revolved around Richter. This story is not. It's like another thing. Like
Well,
it's not just him.
It,
It
the
is
last
him,
the
but
last
it's
season
not.
wasn't just about Richter. It was about Richter and
Yeah.
Maria, right?
Yeah.
And this season was like they're done with the Richter side. They're not going to show any
Yeah.
more Richter side. And instead, they do it for Annette, I think is what her name is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Annette and Maria, and it's their story more than anything else.
And I really
yeah,
I
go on.
really like when seasons go in depth with other characters than
Yeah.
just the same character, and it makes it a really good show. And I really feel like this really, and the production value was way better in my opinion. I think the fighting in this was so like mesmerizing. I actually enjoyed a lot of the fight scenes that happened, especially the last one. The last fight scene is like me wanting more of this. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like this is actually very well done. I really liked this season. I liked it better than season 1. I did like that they did do a darker tone in a way. Like they pulled some Dark Souls stuff in my opinion. Like Colton said that to me. He's like, yeah, they kind of Dark Souled, and I was like, yeah, kind of. Because like Maria, man, like, you know, like they kind of did the whole thing where like Maria, you were like wondering, you're like, is the dark like magic going to take hold of her and like make her a terrible person? Because there's a
Yeah.
part where like, you know, she like asks her mom like, hey, turn me into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom's like, no, like,
Well,
don't do
you
this.
you see her mom was like very close to like giving in, just more out of
Yeah.
vampire spite, and then Belmont is just like, don't do it, like
Yeah.
get away from her, blah 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 blah, and then that kind of snaps her out.
But like,
Which-
I didn't expect her to straight up murk her dad. Like, she straight
Yeah,
up summoned a dragon.
You know
and
what's
just, like,
funny
murked
to
it.
me, right? During that scene where I was going all that, I'm like, are they going to kill him? I feel like this is going to be one of those plot devices where they kill him only to find out that it has like horrific
Yeah.
horrific bad things, and then they kill him. I'm like, okay, so that's the route it's going to. And then the dragon turns on her, and I'm just like, she's safe. They're not
Gonna kill two people.
they're not ballsy enough to kill off Maria. And then they don't, and I'm just like, that's why I thought.
Yeah, because there was a part I was like, whoa, is she gonna die? And I was like, wait, they can't do that. That's just. I was like,
I
bravo
would have
for
loved
them
it,
if they
dude. I
do.
know, like, in the
would've-
story, she doesn't die, but that would have been such
Yeah.
an epic, like, death.
Oh, yeah.
Is that it's
I
like,
would have been okay with it.
this is the darkest timeline, Richter. Like, Maria just blew herself up with her own
Just
dragon.
Straight up. Yeah, and I liked. I think Alucard was really good. His wisdom, and he was very like comedic. Like some of his comedic timing was pretty funny. I liked it.
What I liked about Alucard in this season, like, whenever Alucard appeared at the end of last season, I remember saying how I was kind of like, because
Yeah.
I was like, this shouldn't be his story. I liked how he didn't take center
Overtake.
stage.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he didn't like overtake it. He was just a side character that was like, hey, we know this side character. He's a good side character. It's kind of like how I felt with like, you know, when I watched, you know, Daredevil, like
Okay, yeah.
season 2 with the Punisher. You know, like the Punisher was, you know, it wasn't like him taking over it, because there was a point where like, you know, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like, you know, Matt Murdock going after the Punisher the whole time, and it's like, no, actually, this is like, you know, just trying to solve a problem that they both have.
Mhm.
But they're two good characters, and they like give them equal screen time, because people love Alucard. Alucard's great, and then Richter's really good too. So I really enjoyed that. I also like the history aspect of the show. Like, I love the whole French Revolution was going on, and watching like George get beheaded. I was like, yeah, choppy choppy. Yeah, oversimplified. choppy. So yeah, I really enjoyed a lot, and you can tell that it was like whoever worked on this did really good. Like they like some of the effects in the show, like some of the detail and the digital art or whatever that they used was really well done. Like the vortex when she goes like through the, was it like when she goes like through the portal, like for the past or the dead or something like that. I'm trying to think what they called it.
Oh, are you talking about with Annette?
Yeah,
Going
like
to the
she
spirit
does,
world?
like,
Okay, yeah.
the
the
spirit world, like
Yep.
that portal thing that they show. I was like, that's really cool. I like that aspect of it, and I actually liked that, like the other part of the mummy or whatever she was like it not like probably part of the other world.
Mhm.
And
you know what I did like about that, right? And this is just a side tangent, right? What was that show we watched that was an HBO original series? It was animated. It was about the kids who were like blessed with the voodoo gods and everything.
that was an HBO. That was Hulu. And that was Scarecrow or
Scarecrow. So
Yeah.
what was fun, right, is that I don't know much about that religion, and so but I do know like they're very. A lot of times, media tries to use that religion as like a negative with like how it's kind of presented, because it's like, oh, there's something things, blah blah blah. They always see it as a negative. I liked that both Scarecrow was very like supportive and like tried to be very delicate with it. And in this series, I felt like it was also doing that same way, because she was a Papaligma. Like she mentions them. there's a point where they basically explain to her, it's like, hey, you know, like we all these different religions are essentially connected, but we can't transverse into each other's religion area. And so she goes to the Egyptian side. Essentially, she essentially hops like dimensions or whatever to go to the Egyptian side. And she's like, as long as I'm here, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm unwanted and I will be attacked. And then they make that deal to like swap bodies essentially for the time being. And I was like, that's cool. The concept of like these different religions are all like their own thing, but they are informally connected in some way. So I did like that. Yeah, I like this. I like this season a lot too. I liked that Alucard didn't overtake everything. My only gripe I have with this season, and this is a smaller but very frustrating gripe of me. I hate it when shows and seasons incorporate something that should be groundbreaking and like unfathomable, and then they do it once and then they're like, and we don't talk about that ever again. And I'm talking this season specifically about them putting what's her face, like Drolta, in the Devil Forge machine to resurrect her. You know what I'm talking, like the woman who becomes like the big bat like succubus looking thing. I hated that. And the reason why I hate that is like, why wouldn't they just put all vampires in that machine? Because it seems almost like she became nearly unbelievably powerful by doing that. Why would you not do that? Why hasn't vampires done this from the get-go? Like what's going on here? I thought normally whenever they do something that's so groundbreaking like that you're just like, hey, this seems a little like broken, because now vampires can cheat death once and now they can cheat death again and there's like no repercussions, right? They should have had like a clear, obvious repercussion onto her to show why vampires never done that before or never would do that before. Whether it's because she becomes horrifically servitude to the priest, or if it's because like she gets like ripped inside out or something bad happens to her near her death or something like that, right? They need to explain why vampires never did that, because it makes no sense why Camilla or any of those people didn't do that whenever they had Hector and Isaac and they had all these devil forges. Like, why would they not just devil forge vampires? That was a very frustrating thing for me. I'm like, you can't introduce something like this and then not put like a cap on it to explain why you can't do that, or why you shouldn't do that, or why it's a bad thing to do this. It was too much of a powered thing, and they just kind of wrote it off as like, well, that good thing that the one Orlox guy destroyed that machine, because we could have just kept going, I guess. Nothing says we couldn't have. I don't know. That was my biggest frustration, because it just felt like they kind of retconned her death from the first season. Just like we need her for the rest of the season. We kind of messed up. Let's just kind of reintroduce her, and like, it would be cool if we did this, right, guys? Like, that's what I thought. And I felt like anytime she was on screen, I was just sitting there waiting, like, what's the repercussion? Like, what are we going to see? Is she going to start, like, becoming uncontrolled or break, or she's going to be, like, manipulated by the priest or something? And it just never came. I was like, okay, that seems kind of depressing. And then she ends up killing the one god servant that she was serving. And she's like, it was never meant for you. It was meant for me all time. And I'm like, this seems like that's from something, and I don't know what that's from. It's a generic thing where like the sidekick is just like, I will kill my leader and take his power, and now I'm the big bad guy. Ooh, fear me.
No one's here.
And it's like, what's happening there? Like, why would you do that scene? Like, what? Okay, whatever. That was my only gripe with the season, was basically her and her like story setup. I felt like it was not very entertaining or good.
Yeah, I can totally get that. I get that. I never thought of that way. I forgot all about that, and I was like, huh, that makes a lot of sense when you were talking about that. Because
Yeah,
why wouldn't they wouldn't forge vampires?
there had to have been a reason why they said they
You
wouldn't
blew
have,
my mind. You blew
right?
my mind.
It,
Yeah.
it's just it's like writing 101 when you introduce like something that's so overpowered or powerful, you have to explain why they can't do it again or why they shouldn't ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, easy, right?
Yeah.
I did.
That.
Yeah, go on.
Oh no. Go ahead. What were you about to say? Because I was gonna move on to something.
Oh no,
that
I was
gonna-
going to move on to something else too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it looks like they are setting up for his third season. Because
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like there's I don't know, there's a lot of speculation of who that figure is, like the black thing.
Oh,
The black
it's
figures.
Mephistopheles. He calls him that.
Yeah, but like other people are calling it like online called Old Man Coyote, which is like a mythical creature. That's what they call it. It's like Aztec mythology or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like death, but it's like it only lingers when like someone dies. But I'm pretty sure this is gonna be like the next bad guy, because like I don't know, because I don't know if they can bring back Dracula, into the
Well,
mix, but they could.
Here's the thing, right? This show is built on the characters from the Symphony of the Night / I think it's Dracula X Chronicles, and in Symphony of the Night, the thing about Alucard's like main story or whatnot is you have what the heck is his name? It's some magician, I forget the dude's name. He takes over Richter Belmont and then uses him to resurrect Dracula outside of it, right? They can easily set up that story with this build up, especially since Annette and Richter are leaving, going away from them all. There's nothing saying that like something befalls Annette and Richter, because I think Annette dies in the games, or something happens to her, or something to that degree, or she doesn't like get involved in the game. She's like a don't think too much about this character. This character is a damsel in distress, and that's all she is. Like, they don't give her any type of story like they do in this. Like, they made her awesome in this. But Richter getting taken control of and resurrect Dracula is 100% still possible. And for all we know, that could be like what they're setting up that death, that like demon that's following them around do, is like death or death incarnate. I don't know how they're going to do death, because they killed Death, and they made him a weird Cockney accent, and I still can't get over that. Like, that is my least favorite thing from the Castlevania series, and also one of my favorite things of the Castlevania series. So who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe that is whoever they say, Old Man Wolf or whatnot.
Yeah, Old Man Coyote. That's what I've been reading a lot online, and I saw like I did a lot of deep diving in stuff. I watched a bunch. Like, I watched a couple YouTube videos on it. And the thing is, it's like I don't know how I feel about it. Like I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's what they're setting up for. And I know that like the person that did this show, like some of the production company or some of the people that were part of the production of the show, posted on like X that they were like, hey, we need your support, please watch it, because we want to keep going. We really think that we can make a great, we think we're getting so much support with season 2 that we would love to do a season 3, and we have a great story for that. So I was like, oh cool, so I'm for it. Like I think these Castlevania animes are pretty good. Like I enjoyed it. I will say, I was kind of disappointed in season 1. Like, I was like, okay.
It's funny because like I think I liked Castlevania Nocturne season 1 a lot. I think this season, I do think this season's better, but I don't know what to say. Like, I don't hate the season, nor do I hate Nocturne season 1. I just feel like I don't know. Maybe it's like I feel like everything just fell into place for free. Maybe that's my issue. because like I felt like they were in peril is the best way to say it, but I didn't feel like they were fighting anything that was scary. And because of that, like I never felt like, oh, a character's going to die or something bad could happen. I'm just like, I'll just run away. And then this season, I don't think anyone died other than the father, and that was like, yeah, he had it coming. Like
one of those other vampires that Richter accidentally told him where they were going.
Yeah.
And the whole French Revolutionary Revolters, some of the Revolutionary Revolters were murdered.
And I love how that like served no real purpose, you know,
no,
other than for a weird little scene where half of the monsters attack the other half of the monsters. And it's just like, oh, get it? Because they're revolutionaries and they're revolting against the other ones who shouldn't actually be working or fighting because their Forge Master is dead. And they listen to their Forge Master, not to the person. So I don't know why they are all working with her still. Because, like, that was a big thing from the original Castlevania series that they made a point to point out that it's like the Forge Beasts are 100% loyal to the Forge Master. And the only reason why they listened to the vampires was because they were under them. And that's why, like, Hector had to have, like, his little ring put on him with the thorns, so that way he was 100% loyal to What's-Her-Face, so they wouldn't fight back. So I don't understand why, like, some of them were loyal and some of them weren't. And it's like, shouldn't none of you be loyal? Because he's dead. Like, go live your life. Like, go live a little creature life somewhere else. Because you all don't have to worry about the sun. So these were just questions that were going through my mind as I was watching. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, also, and like I did like the main villain. I liked her complexity, and she was very to me she was very complex with everything of her story.
Which one?
The one
because if you say the one, I'm going to be upset, and if you say the other one,
okay, so the one that I'm thinking of is the one that the vampires like raided, and she drank the blood of them, like after she like they like raided her like village or whatever.
Okay, Jolta, yeah.
Jolta, yeah. I actually like Jolta. I thought she was good. Like,
I was fine with her before they resurrected her.
Yeah,
that's my issues.
Totally. I'm with you.
I felt like they realized halfway like during the season, they're like, wait, hold up, we shouldn't have killed her off. Let's Jon Snow her. It'll be fine. Because I at first I thought you were going to talk about Elizabeth or whatever her name is, the one. I'm like, bro, she is the most one-note character. I hated her. He's like, I won't be worshipped. Worship me because I'm the goddess.
What was I always forget his name. He was the one that kills Richter's mom.
Aurochs.
Aurochs like kind of just like he really didn't do too much after he got branded. Like like she's like, serve me. That's like
so that was my issue with like the ending, right? Like the whole season, I felt like everything fell into place for them, and I was kind of annoyed by that to be a degree. Like you have just Belmont, who is like, oh, I can use magic again thanks to me needing to use it for Maria, which I was like, okay, cool. You know, that's character development to agree from first season. And then it's like, Annette's like, I'm going to go to the spirit realm and talk with the other guys. Oh, now I'm this giant Deus Ex Machina of this like character who can just go and stop the big demon wolf lady. And it was like, I don't feel like they're in peril because it feels like everything was just kind of handed to them to succeed. They just had to like weaken her, fight her down. Now, to be fair, the fight scene, all of episode 7 and 8, freaking fantastic. They were amazing, and I could just rewatch them just for the fight scenes alone. But I didn't like. It felt like they didn't. Everything they did failed, and then the only reason why they succeed is because they have the one character who can go to the spirit realm to like become a vessel for their god, and that's it. Oh, also she survives somehow because like the ending there makes it seem like Annette's going to die, transferring the soul back to the other realms or whatnot, and then she just lives, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, look, there's no consequences for any of this stuff. You guys were safe from the get go. I don't know. That was my thing. I do like the fact that Orlox sides with them and starts fighting in his like Quetzalcoatl form. That was cool. I like that a lot. No, not him.
I'm trying to think what his name. I was kind of. That was the only thing that I actually had a problem with. Was like there wasn't a lot of time spent with him. In my opinion.
There was a lot of time spent with him. His issue is that he still didn't do nothing. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't really like develop his character too much. The only thing I will say is like now, like he does this now or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
his
like,
eyes aren't always closed.
Yeah, he's like accepting that he's not like this terrible creature anymore because he did good. So I'm like, that's cool. I like that. Some story, you know.
See, I totally thought what the story was going to be is upon them killing the priest, it was going to be like, oh no, now these beasts are just free range, like they don't care what they do because they don't have a master no more. And then you were going to find out that guy, because of his song, could motivate and like bring people to him and calm themselves. And it was going to be a thing where like the big bad evil woman Elizabeth is going to be like, I have all my monsters and everything, I'm going to stop you. And then he starts singing and all the monsters turn on her, including the Geralta girl, who was like, I'm this ultimate mix of vampire and forgery magic. Oh no, the reason why vampires never do this is because I'm enslaved to this person as well. Like, I am now bound to the Forge Master. That's why they don't do this. Nope, we're not going to do that. Like it was a great season. I enjoyed it a lot, but there's like plot things there that I'm just like, oh.
Well, see, like I still think, you know, like my favorite Castlevania fight has to be between Dracula and Alucard.
Oh yeah,
and Simon,
just because it's super emotional.
Fight.
Like,
yeah,
it's a super emotional scene.
It was close. I would think my number 2 is episode 7 and 8 of this season. I think that they did really good with the fight scenes. I really enjoyed them. It kind of reminded me of like one of the other fight scenes I really liked from the original Castlevania anime, and that was like when he gets like the Morning Star and they fight in the library. I really enjoyed that fight scene. I was like, oh, okay. But when I watched this, I was like, wow, I actually would like to see more of these fight scenes. And I'm probably going to rewatch it because of those fight scenes, because you even said, you're like, yeah, I'll probably just watch them. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like this show did really good. I you know, there was some things that needs to be, you know, talked about, but I think that there was a big improvement on the season, and that's what I really, really liked about this season. Is I felt like there was an improvement. I
think, in my honest opinion, I still hold that the first season, or the first 2 seasons of Castlevania, the original, was the best one, because it was about the story and the characters and the depth of Alucard to Alucard, Dracula's like forbearance about being human and caring, and like he doesn't actually care about any of the stuff. He's just kind of like in this perpetual grief that he'll never stop. And like you get that all culminated with the scene where he's like, I'm killing our boy, like voice, like that hurts you emotionally. Man. Nocturne, I think, is a different style.
Tone, like a tone.
Well, it's a shonen to a, like, I felt like the original Castlevania was much more closer to that of like a not thriller. Maybe it's the thriller, but like it's like Game of Thrones-ish. And then like Nocturne is much more like action shonen adventure. Like the things I liked about this season of the show wasn't character growth or like character scenes. It was the animation and act like awesomeness of it, right? Meanwhile, whenever I talk about the first season, I'm talking about the emotional hits between different things. And I don't think that's bad. I just, they're just 2 different genres. It's like watching freaking Naruto and then being like, man, the fight scenes, and then watching something like Death Note and being like, where's the fight scenes? It's like, it's 2 different things. You don't compare them that way. That's my opinion on this. I prefer the more slow burn story stuff from the original Castlevania with Dracula. And then in this season, like, this is much more action packed. And if people really like this, I'm like, I understand why. You are also probably someone who's big into like Dragon Ball Z or like One Piece or JoJo Bizarre Adventure. You like the action, right?
Yeah, no.
That's just my thoughts. Like, I liked it
Yeah.
still. Like, I'll tell people to watch it, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, my favorite season is 1 and 2. Like,
Yeah. Well, you just can't beat it. You can't beat the Alucard, Dracula, and Simon. Like,
I mean,
Trevor.
animation wise,
fight.
this season beat out the first season.
Yeah,
Like,
wait, totally.
the first season didn't have all that like great animation flair of like they had some of that, like some scenes where you're just like, ooh, that's really cool looking. This season had like constant like, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome. But by giving us so many that's awesome fight scenes, we lost the that's awesome story.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we got Aurochs, and I think his name's Ardrian.
Yeah.
Now gets to turn his lover boy into a vampire.
Yeah.
That totally won't backfire in the next season if they get next season, when you have like all the bad guys are just the emotional attachments of all the main characters. You have Maria's mom, you have his I guess they're partners. I don't think they're not married, but like they're partners. Heck, they'll have Dracula come back for Alucard, and then they'll have for Trevor, they'll turn Juiced into a vampire, and then it's Juiced, Dracula, Adrian, and Tara are the big bad guys in the next season. And then they're like, ooh, surprised they're not actually bad guys. It's really, I want to say his name's like Set or something like that from the games, who resurrects Dracula. I can't remember.
Yeah. But yeah. So speaking of vampires,
Yeah.
So speaking of vampires, I get to pick this week's like new thing to watch. And I've been wanting you to watch this for a long time, actually, because this is actually one of my favorite animes of all time.
Oh, really?
You know, I don't really watch a lot of animes, like, compared to you. You've watched more animes, way more animes than I have. But there has been, like, certain animes where I've picked up where, like, someone has just, like, was like, hey, you should watch this. And I remember, like, back in, like, I think it was, like, 2012.
Shaft.
I was working in a
That's his name. Sorry, I was like, Shaft is the wizard from Symphony of the Night who resurrects Dracula.
Oh,
sorry.
Gotcha. But yeah.
Go on, Austin. Yes.
So back in 2012, I was working at a factory, and a buddy of mine, me and him were switching out hard drives from time to time. Like, I would have movies that he want, then I want movies he want, and then we'd like switch them out back and forth. And throughout the week, we would do that. And then I'd be like, hey, man. And he was like, hey, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff on there. You can get whatever you want. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, yeah, you should watch Hellsing. And I was like, Hellsing. And he's like, Ultimate? You've never watched Hellsing Ultimate? I was like, no, I've never watched it, you know. And he was like, this is one of my favorite. He's like, it's a great anime. So I've been thinking about it for a while, and I asked you like a while ago. I was like, hey, have you ever watched it? And you're like, no. And I was like, oh man. So we'll see how you fare with one of my favorite animes right now. Well, one of my favorite animes of all time. It's up there on the list. I would have to say my number 5 anime that I've always liked. That's just been like that anime that I'll watch from time to time. I watch this like maybe once or twice a year, actually. Like it just especially around spooky season, I really watch this one. This one involves Alucard, a vampire named Alucard, which is really fun. Whoa. But the cool part about this is it's set in World War II era. So I really enjoy the history of it, but I hope you like it. I really hope, but we'll see, you know, you might not, you know, but I think out of all the vampire animes that I've ever watched, this is probably the best one. that I've watched so far. I really enjoy this one, and it's the one that I come back to when someone's like, dude, have you ever watched Vampire? You know, like, have you ever watched Trinity Blood? And I watched Trinity Blood. I was like, yeah, that's not better than Hellsing. And then there was like a Vampire in the Garden someone recommended or something like that. And like, I was like, yeah, this isn't really good at all. And then, you know, Castlevania, and I was like, well, these are really good. And those are pretty close to like taking my top spot. But Hellsing Ultimate will always be my favorite vampire anime. So far, just saying that. But yeah, that's what we're watching next week, and it's only one season. It's 12 episodes. Really quick, easy watch. It's one that I always put on repeat. Always put on repeat. So hopefully, this is one you'll put on repeat. Because usually I don't recommend a lot of anime. Like my anime list is like really short.
Yeah,
and, like,
you're kind of like a anime. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, you have anime.
Yeah, I have weird taste in anime. Like, you know, that's like there's another anime that I've been wanting you to watch, because we watched Dan to Dan, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if he's ever watched this. And it was like Elephant Land. I don't know if you've ever watched Elephant Land.
Elephant Lad, yeah. I have not watched it. I know of it because it's notorious.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is nuts. It's kind of like Hiroshima when they cry. I just finally watched that for the first time like 2 years ago. And I was like, yeah, this is
hold up.
crazy.
Did you just call it Hiroshima?
Not Hiroshima.
Higurashi, where they
Higurashi. Not Hiroshima, the anime.
Dang, dude, what the freak?
No. It's all right, everyone. It's fine. No, it's Higurashi. That's what it is when they cry. Whoa, kitty. Molly. But yeah, so we're watching Hellsing Ultimate next week, so I'm excited. I'm really excited.
We're watching Hellsing Ultimate next week.
Yeah,
so next week we'll watch Hellsing Ultimate. Ain't that right, Molly? Yeah, no, you know what's funny about you having me watch Hellsing Ultimate? Hellsing's Ultimate is one of those things that I've been told that I need to watch since I'm a fan of vampire stuff. And I just avoided it, not because I don't want to watch it. I just avoid it because I've had like it's like
it's on the back burner.
It's always on the back burner.
You want to watch. No, I'm totally with you. I do that to movies all the time. It's like, I really want to watch this movie, and then I'll get it, and then I'll forget about it, and then one rainy day when I'm sick, I'll watch it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good movie. Dang, I should have watched that a long time ago.
Oh, like, great. It's the same thing with video games for me, right? Like, I bought Red Dead Redemption years ago, never touched it, and now I'm just like, man, I'm over here just sitting there being like, howdy, partner, how you doing?
Well, it's kind of like how I feel with like this. Actually, makes me kind of feel like with Breaking Bad with you, where like, you know, I was like, dude, you have to watch Breaking Bad.
The difference there is that you wanted me to watch it. I had no interest to watch it because I didn't care about the characters.
That's true. Yeah.
I actively told you that. I'm like, I didn't care. It's more closer to Game of Thrones because you watched Game of Thrones before I ever did, and you told me like you would like Game of Thrones. I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things that I put on. I just don't have access to it. And then when I finally got access to it by watching it online for free, illegally, most likely, I don't know. I was in college. I don't remember how I watched it. I know I was going to like websites that probably put like Trojans on my computer.
Yeah, most likely.
But I remember watching it and being like, yeah, I'm into this. I like this a lot. And why did I wait this long?
Pretty cool. Ministers always pay their debts. Hear me roar. No, what was it? So what's really funny, we're getting totally sidetracked here. So recently, I when TikTok got banned, I got the message that I got to ban and stuff. So I just was like, whatever. I'm just gonna delete it. So I deleted the app, and then they like brought it back, and they were like, hey, yeah, you have access, but you can't download it. And I was like, oh man, well I already deleted it, so I don't have access to TikTok. So I've been using YouTube. I've been using YouTube Shorts, like just watching them, like you know, just like TikTok. And recently, Better Call Saul clips have been coming up in Breaking Bad. So I was like, man, all right. And then like, you know, there was, it was the scene with Chuck and, you know, where he plants like the battery on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's Hugh Babineau. He's on like the witness list and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I just put in the comments, I was like, all right, you pulled my arm. I'll watch Better Call Saul again.
All right, you convinced me.
And so I started watching it, and guess who started watching it now? The wife. So Sid has been watching a couple episodes with me every night, And she looked straight at me yesterday, and I thought of you when she said this, because that's exactly what you said. She goes, "You know what? I like that character more than any other character."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Who?" And she's like, "Jimmy, Saul." And I was like, "Yeah, he's a good character." And she's like, "No, he's better than any other of the characters. I think he's way more interesting." And I was like, "That's what Josiah said." Like, you know, so I was like, "Hey, she kind of, yeah." So we just got to season 2, so we've been binging that. So a lot of fun.
Yeah,
A lot of fun.
a lot of fun. It's a great show.
Yep.
All right, Austin. Well, I think that basically covers it for this episode of Bros and Shows. We got off topic a little bit, but we talked about things we loved, and that's what's important in life.
Yeah.
So next week we are watching Hellsing Ultimate.
Yes.
A vampire series that I've known about for years, but never watched it. So let's see how I feel about it. So until then, Austin, thanks so much for joining me on this episode. And thank you all so much for stopping by. And thank you all so much for tuning in.